Hello, friends, and welcome to 10 Points Under, where we're back and watching out for Professor Screw-Eyes. This is Big Bullfrog, and joining me today is the one, the only, the awesome, the amazing, the punny Dysole. Welcome, Dysole.
Thank you. Glad to be here. I wasn't sure how long you were going to go for a minute. I was like, am I just going to get an endless array of titles?
Maybe. I sometimes start into a I get into one of those grooves, and then I'm like, oh, I do need to just find a stopping point. I can't do this for too long.
Fair enough. Well, yeah, it's glad to be here. It's been a minute, and I'm happy to be back into this.
Yeah, I'm glad to have you back here with us too. Today also we are going to so it's been a while. If you're an avid fan of the channel, you might have noticed that things haven't been super consistent for the better part of a year and a half, almost. Not quite a year and a half, but pushing it. So we're just kicking things back off, and that means we've got a nice old game to kick it off with. And neither of us know much about what's really gonna happen here, but that's okay.
This was season 44 Delta, which was, we've had I think 4 or 5 Delta events at this point. The most recent one that we ran was a sideboards that was completely different from what's going on here. This was just kind of a bring one Delta thing, and that one was more of a bring a pool of things and then build something out of it. And yeah, our Delta events have been really, really popular because, honestly, Delta's unleashed a lot of unique strategies with things and some stuff that you haven't normally seen, and the meta's fluctuating enough that old armies are still solid, but there's plenty of other new things that are kind of punching on the same level with it. We've got a bunch of units here that I've seen one of them, 2 of them brought to a typical bring one cheese tournament, and that's Q9, and I think I've seen Taylord at one, but I think that's it.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody had brought Taylord, but that is pushing the envelope by a pretty good amount.
Yeah, I could see it with something like 10th or something like that, where someone decided to do that.
It's still one of my dream armies to do.
Yeah.
I'm still dreaming of the day when I can just take Taylord, Raylan, and Death Reavers to a tournament just to, have fun, have shenanigans.
I'm gonna quote Doc here. Everybody loves rats. Or something I think it was who hates rats or something like that. It was some comment about how there's why do people hate rats?
That
and, if you've played against rats, the answer is
Yeah, if you know, you know.
So looks like we've got this is Kevindola and Boromir, both very solid players.
Yes.
Kevin's the one with 4 squads of Maronids, 3 squads of oh gosh, why am I spacing on them? 53rd.
Yep.
Taylord, and looks like a single Swagon Raider.
Yep, all alone.
I've heard the name pronounced 8 different ways, and this is including several D&D campaigns, so I'm not actually 100% sure what the correct pronunciation is there.
We'll just call them Sahuagins.
Sure, we can go with that.
Yes, whatever.
I don't know what the actual pronunciation is.
Whatever the craziest pronunciation is.
Looks 3 squads of Templar, Major Q9, and then 2 of the Raiders.
Yeah,
if I call them Raiders, then I don't have to worry about it.
Oh, there you go. Nice workaround. But yeah, like you were saying, pretty cool armies that you wouldn't usually, you don't usually see Templar being used a bunch in Heroscape tournaments. So I think Delta's been doing a really cool thing, and especially with the increase with software with Heroscape.org from Chris Perkins, helping to make that more accessible. I'll be honest, I've thought Delta was a cool idea for a long time, but there was always just kind of that barrier to entry there. But I mean, once you've got that out of the way, though, with the software and such, then you can see
Oh,
cool
the
armies like
builder
this.
is so good.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, like I mean, the first time I was looking at Delta, and I had to like keep flipping through like three different tabs just to like figure out what points are what, and try to put together an army. It was too much, and I'm like, for like like Utah events, for example, we'd thrown around the idea, but I'd kind of shot it down because I'm like, I don't want everybody in our community to have to go through that. But the quick plug for, if you haven't heard of, Heroscape.org, the army builder there is it's good for normal, it's good for Delta, it's good for tons of stuff. It's a great army builder, and also there are events hosted through there too. So check it out.
Yeah, it's an amazing tool for the community, and I'm pretty confident, unless something has massively changed, it's like how um, there's at least OST, which is another new online thing that's cropped up, and Sir Heroscape's Circle Championship League are both being run through that.
Mm-hmm.
With two new online tournaments, and I know that ScapeCon 3 will be run primarily through that as well. So, yeah, unless things like randomly change on me in the future, but I don't anticipate that. The software works amazing for what it wants to do, and it's it's really good at allowing people to kind of build armies, play around with them, and also to have people submit stuff for stuff as well. Like OHS has definitely built some tools for it, and I know I myself and Doc kind of built some tools that later became stuff that was being used at previous Scape cons, and they were nice and useful, but they do not have the level of flexibility that the Heroscape.org has, and it's definitely something you should check out.
Yep, agreed. Seconded
Um,
and thirded.
so as for this particular matchup, um, so a couple of things that are interesting here. So Templar, the reason you don't see them a lot is because they get just shredded by range. Like
Yeah.
they're a lot of points, and 3 defense just dies to range. They cost significantly less here. I want to say they were like 8 points at this point or something, or 90. They got like a full like 30, 40 point drop, which makes them much less of a point sink. But Q9 also got big a big jump up, so he's like
Right.
basically half the army. Uh, and so it's interesting because like the Templar's abilities go very nicely into the Nids, which is most of Kevin's army. Although the Nids are going to have Taylord most of the time, but the Templar um, galloping charge is can get them up to 5 dice, 6 dice if they're attacking one of the Nids.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the the good thing I guess for the Nids is that they are incredibly expendable, but they're also gonna have a bit of a hard time since they will be active to the dismiss the rabble, or no, it's not dismiss the rabble. Is it?
Dismiss the
What
rebel
is the
for
name of that?
the defensive ability.
Yeah,
Yeah,
is that what it's called?
I believe that's correct.
Anyway. So yeah, they are so that the yeah, it is called dismiss the rabble. Wow. Okay, wait, I thought that was the oh gosh, the
Hornskull Brute.
Hornskull Brute ability. But yeah, so that's going to be a bit tricky there. Even with Taylord's help, they're going to have some issues. But the sharpshooters, even though there's only 2 attacks a turn, they also can have some really impressive range.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, they have a second ability besides the range increase, which is what was that ability?
Extra attack die if the
Uh,
guy is far enough away.
yeah, so they can be throwing like 4 attack dice from like 8 range, and
Mm-hmm.
that'll eat through quite a few of the Templar. Q9 though is the beast and really annoying to take down, and basically what kevindola is probably going to be hoping for is to get 1 or 2 Nids on Q9, because if he does that, it's not going to change the it's not going to change his special attack because can't modify that. But what it will do is it will wait, what's the that's the specific, because I know it reduces abilities. I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, they basically okay. So there, it's not going to change his attack abilities, but it is going to drop his defense, and that's really one of the most annoying things with Q9 is that he's got all this defense. So if he cracks one or two in, all of a sudden Q9's only got 5 defense, and that's way more easy to take down than 7.
Yeah, he becomes
Um,
Q10.
so so Boromir's got to be careful at least that you kind of don't want Nids to get a ton of attacks on you because you're probably not gonna be able to stop all of them, but you do what you can. Um, yeah, both armies do kind of have a bit of things that they can be fragile to.
Mm-hmm.
The glyphs here, Valda, considering the Templar can get that on round one, like turn one, they can just literally grab Valda, and then you're looking at 10 move Templar, which is horrifying. They can literally just
Right.
run across the field and hit stuff. Um, so that's something to be considering. And Zoet, though, I think is something that's more like useful for Kevin's army because he can sneak a Nid. My brain always wants to call them Canids because and I don't know if this was intentional or not when they were designed, but Charlie and the Great Glass Elevator, I believe, has Vermicious Canids, which is a made up animal, but still anyway,
Interesting.
and if they get to Q9, because of the teleport thing, you can just basically sneak a Nid where it passed lines that it wouldn't be able to. So in some ways, it almost feels like the best plan for Boromir is going to be to create like a wall of Templar and just put Q9 behind that wall and just shoot at things. That really feels like that's going to be the best way to do things. Maybe have like a couple Templar run into the start zone and disrupt some stuff. Whereas I think Heaven's going to have to play this a little bit more carefully and try and get the matchups that he wants. Because the sharpshooters can't really force the range issue the way Q9 can,
Mm-hmm.
but they can definitely do some damage. And then he's just got a bunch of nids. Really, what Kevin needs is to just basically continually just wear him down. Um, And if Boromir does do the fortress that I was talking about, you probably just focus on having your sharpshooters just kill as many Templar as you can, and then bring in the hordes of Nids once they've cleared out a number of Templar. So,
Yeah.
because you can kind of if he does that, you can kind of afford to have your sharpshooters just sitting back
Mm-hmm.
and shooting. But yeah, so honestly, there's a number of strategies that you can play out in this, and I feel like what's going to determine the game is who's able to shift their strategies quickly enough is going to determine who wins.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot that can go down with this. What I once you mentioned that Templar fortress, the thing that I kind of want to see. I'm sure we will not see this, unfortunately, but I do kind of want to see just with this map, Templar, 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 and then like Q9 somewhere back there, just hanging out and shooting stuff. Ultimate Fortress.
Put Q9 on either the forward 3 is snows or the 3s on grass. Either of those are both really solid positions to just rain down from.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know if you can. It'd be tricky to get it set up in time without disruption,
Right.
but it's not impossible.
Yeah, and I just think it'd be like, I don't know, like a series of gates almost of just like Templar going through
Yeah,
there. I just
yeah,
think it'd be hilarious.
that's why you be shooting with those sharpshooters and just basically slowly taking down the gates that way.
That's true too. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, you can also just so I'm curious to see how they play this out. My guess is that Boromir has his opening order markers mostly on Templar, maybe like one or and I think like 1 on Q9 or 0. Sorry, he'll probably have an X on Q9 if nothing else. And then I don't think Kevin moves up Taylor this early in the game because it's just way too easy for, especially with Templar being able to grab Valda on turn 1. They
Right.
can annihilate Taylor in like a turn or two, and you kind of need Taylor alive for this match. So I honestly think there's probably going to be some like turn 1 or 2 on the nids and then turn 3 on the sharpshooters. That's my guess as to what I think is going to happen.
We can start to draw him in. That makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll go ahead.
Let's see
Let's
what
see.
happens.
Yeah. Let's see if the order marker prediction is so sharpshooters, tailored nids, Q9 Templar, Q9 Templar.
Okay. Again, I think that one of those Q9s is an X order marker, and I think the tailored is an X order marker.
Yeah, that would make sense to me. Because I do think, like, if you like get a couple of nids out, just to keep the Templar from totally charging in
Yeah.
and raining.
I mean, the truth of the matter is that he can grab Valda with almost no repercussions because a nid can get to him, but it'd be a 2v4.
Right.
So like
And how we
it's what you use one forward nids to move 7 to you can't get any closer.
Yeah. And there could
So
be
I probably yeah. I mean, if you think that there's going to be some sharpshooter action, though, I can see not going for Valda. I think with this placement, though, I would have grabbed it with the understanding that I was probably going to be feeding it on the next turn.
right. Yeah, if you
Or
know
next turn
that,
or two.
like with 2 order markers on nids, you can almost safely bet that the number 1 is going to be on nids. So
Yeah.
yeah, I could see just like running in, grabbing it, getting 10 move with 2
Moving up
others.
some dudes. If the Nid manages to kill your Templar with a 2v4, that just happens. It's not likely.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it is. Do the math. By do the math, I mean plug it into the little app on my phone.
Man, I need to get a not iPhone so I can use that app.
Man, that sounds like a problem.
Yeah, it is.
I'm sorry. I don't think it's I don't think Veggie's actively maintaining it, but I'm not even sure if it's technically like it's one of those things where it might not even be technically available, but you know, it's it's on my phone, so
It's available to
um,
at least one
it's
person.
available to me. Yeah, it looks like basically it's a 1 in 4 chance that a nid attacks you and kills you. Which
Okay.
okay, order marker 2's on Q9.
Interesting,
Okay,
interesting.
I was like, oh, I thought someone was in range, but no, they're just out of range. Order
Yeah.
marker 2's on Taylord. Okay, I'm guessing then he's gonna probably put Taylord like right, yeah, like in
Here-ish?
that. I don't
Maybe there.
I
Well,
don't love
maybe
that
not
spot
there.
because
Oh,
yeah,
I guess
yeah.
that makes more sense.
I
Yeah.
was gonna say like he's either gonna put him either on the ice down below or he's gonna put him like there behind the nids because
Where he can be
he's
screened
he
off.
he
Yeah.
wants Taylord to be in a spot where it's you're not gonna be able to get to him without taking L. Actually, I think someone yeah they can actually you can actually totally get there. You take Valda
Yeah, take Valder, and
and
then
you
this
do
guy
have
just.
enough move to get there. Um,
Whoop.
the question is whether or not um you can. So actually, that's a great question. Let me look at the Templar card real quick.
Oh, right, because they need to be able to see him in order to get the attack bonus.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that's
I
what
always
I was
forget about
checking.
that, but yeah, I think that's true.
And it's very debatable as to whether or not that Templar, the Templar down below probably could, but I don't think you can get to Taylor from that bottom Templar.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah,
Yeah,
not
you
quite.
even with 10 move. Um, whereas the one right next to Q9, it's real debatable as to whether or not that one can see Taylor. So honestly, you just move up more Templar then. There's no point in risk you'd be doing a 4v3 on Taylor. You're not going to do anything. You're sacrificing one of your 9 Templar for
Mm-hmm.
basically nothing. So yeah, you just move up more dudes, put them in places, um, set yourself up so that way, yeah, like that one right there that's right next to the glacier now. That one absolutely can try and murder Taylor next round if he gets the opportunity.
Yeah.
Which 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, you can block it off as long as the marker 3 is on Nids, you can block it off. Yeah, and I like what Boromir is doing here and making it so Nids can't even like sneak their way in.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, this Nid right here, or any of those Nids in the start zone, can go jump on Zoet and go run away into the start zone and potentially put some wounds on Q9. It's not likely, but you can do it.
Yep.
Honestly, if it was
Right on
me,
to it.
I would do it because oh no, it's like a 12.5 figure. Yeah, it's a 12.5 point figure. And if it gets a single wound on Q9,
That is such value.
yeah. So like if it fails, oh no, I lost nothing. And if it
Mm-hmm.
works, it works. Yeah, you can just you're going to be able to drop that Nid just about wherever you want. Okay, and he's running up there and engaging that Templar. Oh, okay. So one of the nice things about that is not only is that Templar, so the Templar is stuck there, but you'll also notice that all of the other okay, I was going to say one of the other things with that move is all the other Templar are kind of can't get to any of this other stuff unless they kill that Nid first, and then they still have a turn that they have to. So
Right.
I honestly don't think that's a bad move. Although I do like grabbing Valda here. Yeah, because then he can go down here, and it's yeah, yeah,
There you
yeah. This
yeah.
is this is some great blockage here. Yeah, they're garbage attacks, but that'll happen.
And sometimes it also works.
Yeah, no, like you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Mm-hmm.
Like there, if you think there is no way I'm going to make this attack, go ahead and do it. Like there is no reason to ever pass up any kind of attack. Yeah, is he gonna put it? I feel like he's gonna put it in the start zone, in Boromir's start zone,
And so
because you can't place it. Okay, he's putting it there. Okay, so
oh,
interesting.
interesting.
I don't quite know if I. Okay, the reason why I'm just thinking about this here. Yeah, because okay, so putting it there, I'm guessing just to give himself another option to do with things. I would have just thrown it in the start zone. If I win initiative, I get a free shot on Q9. Maybe it does something, maybe it does nothing. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe I'm not sure what he's necessarily thinking here.
Yeah, I
Because
mean, kind of seems like
he doesn't currently have the move to get. And although Mary, if he wins initiative, he's going to get a height attack down on the Templar.
right.
Boromir, I think, kind of has to go all Templar at the moment because he needs them to be in good spots. Yeah. He's got 2 on sharpshooters, which makes sense because um he wants. Oh, that's very solid. That's a very solid move because what he's doing now is he's putting he's going to be able to shoot at the Templar, and the Templar kind of can't really do much at the moment to the sharpshooters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Kevin's got a nice amount of nids between the sharpshooters and the Templar. And the sharpshooters can get more reliable hits in. Might even, let's see, one,
What's
two, three, four. Might even be going for A Q9
Yeah, I was
attack?
gonna say you can definitely shoot a 4v7 on Q9.
I think
It is
that
not a bad call
I
to
think
do
that's even
that.
a 5v, yeah, 5v7 there.
Oh, five. Oh yeah, because height. Yeah, like you know, yeah, it costs you nothing to do. Yeah, so
Mm-hmm. And there you go. There's like your first wound on Q9. So
I mean, it doesn't help you as far as nids go, but
right.
yeah. I'm very curious. Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah, definitely go for
obviously gonna
Glyphy.
kill. Yeah, he's gonna murder the one on the wound on the move glyph because it's gonna get 7 dice down on it, and if it survives that, the game is very bad for Boromir.
Oh yeah. If it survives the
Um.
what 6v2,
Yeah. He can't get charging assault on the
7v2.
one that's on the low ground, but he can move up one to get height on it. So,
Yeah,
Yeah, and then
yeah.
I
That's
think that's the right call. And then I'm trying to think because like I almost wonder if you move that one on the glacier just to go attack the Nid. Like it feels
just
like
right
the
there.
right call, but because you're not going to get any better attacks.
Right,
So and you kind of need that Nid to be gone.
right. Maybe even. Yeah, it looks like he's pivoting to right there.
Yeah, the only reason I'm hesitant on that one is because you open yourself up for sort of a backdoor route, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
You open yourself up for say that failing, then taking it. I mean, yeah, it's not likely, but I don't know. At this point in the game, I don't. With the start I've got, I kind of don't want to risk something bad happening. Like yeah, say they'd both gotten 0 for 4s there, then all of a sudden we're in a bad spot. Um,
Right.
so yeah, okay, two's on sharpshooters, and he's gonna shoot down on Q9 again,
Yeah, two
but
attacks if or oh
Q9
no, that other
blocks, and
one.
he's shooting at the free Templar. Oh, that was very good for
Yeah.
Boromir. So I believe if I remember right, there was only two on sharpshooters. So this third order marker's on Nids.
Right. Yeah,
And
it's got to be. I think.
none of the Nids are in great spots.
Mm-mm.
And honestly, he can actually sneak in and yep, yeah, he can do that. He can
Yep, going
totally run
for
in and
Taylor.
attack Taylord. I think that's the right call. I'm trying to think if there's a better way to do it. Um,
I think my only
I do.
reservation is like if you can consistently get attacks on Taylor, because if this deals
Yeah,
bunches of
a
damage, then
six v
great.
three is not likely to murder him.
Right. And
I
so,
think though if he's able to move a Templar up and kill these two forward nids, he's
these
going to be in a
guys.
fairly good spot. Because
I
yeah,
guess you
that
could
one's going
bring
to
this
attack
one
down a
one,
four
two,
v
three,
four.
four, five,
Yeah,
six,
basically.
seven. Yeah, they could
Um,
do that.
yeah, I probably move the one on the glacier and then the one back behind there.
This guy.
Um, that's actually a solid. Yeah, no, give yourself. You want to move forward as far as you can because there's no point in not.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
You've got that attack there.
so yeah, both those nids are gone. Yep, and he's attacking Taylord for 6 dice. Only does one wound. It's not great, but
Yeah, doesn't feel as epic as you might like, but I do think
the
he though
thing
he does
is
have the
that
follow up now, so he
yeah, yeah,
unless
Kevin's
Nids
got to
get
be
in the way.
very careful with yeah, he's got to basically blockade that whole section off. And though if I'm Boromir, I honestly feel like I need to move Q9 up on those 3 hexes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and he's got it on Q9. So yeah, yeah, you
Three, four, wait, four, five,
you
six.
needed to get Q9 off the height. Um, I
So
think I'd probably clear out. I think I'd clear out the Nid right behind the glacier, assuming that we can see that. Yeah, because
yeah,
then
I
that'll
feel
free
like
up
you would.
Templar to go charging in and hit Taylor again. And I probably also shoot at the sharpshooters, just because I'm
Because
not
sharpshooters are
concerned
annoying.
about. Yeah, actually, I'm attacking the sharpshooters first. Is the good call because the sharpshooters are the most dangerous to your entire army at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So that's oh yeah, he's asking if he has LOS to it because that's going to be a very useful one to get rid of. Oh, he's doing
Oh, attacks it
oh,
too.
I love it. And then he's probably oh yeah. Wait, no, I think he had one more. Oh no, he
No, you
didn't.
get the
He
yeah,
didn't.
attack a 3 on the sharpshooter and
Attack of
then
three, then
three
two, two, two,
twos.
two. I thought he had a single attack that I have one, but I did my math wrong. Still though, that's always fun to do that when you
Mm-hmm.
can sneak in more attacks. And honestly, it's kind of like how doing 9-1s against Krav is the right call because you just need him
Mm-hmm.
to whiff once. It's kind of that similar thing where like yeah,
Or 9
with
ones against the
anything where you
Deathwalker 9000
yeah.
because, why not? Make him sweat.
9,000, I think it matters less because you're less worried about 9,000 doing a bunch of damage to you, and 9,000. Basically, you do it for anything with really good defense abilities. I think honestly, like for example, Red Mantis Blade Dancers that have their stealth armor 12, you're
Oh,
actually better off
interesting.
as Q9, just sort of yeah.
That makes
And as you can see,
sense.
they both got 2 on each. Looks like Kevin's got the Nids first, which isn't ideal because he can't get at Q9. The Templar that he can get to are he can't really get great attacks, but he can get attacks of 3 because they'll be in Taylor's Zara.
Right.
Yeah, you can only get like 2 attacks on Templar, so I think reinforcing here is the right call. And he's basically blocking it off and making sure that, he has as much access to keep Taylor alive as possible. One of the other nice things is that in order to attack that sharpshooter, you have to take low ground. There's no
Mm-hmm.
um and any way that you do that, you really expose yourself. Okay, look, he's rethinking that now. Yeah, that move for sure is good because okay, yeah, actually. Oh, the question is whether or not Taylor can actually see that one.
Yeah, I was wondering
Probably.
about that one. I've never had the Nid sculpts, so I don't know how far they like poke out around the glacier.
I feel like with how small.
Looks
Oh
like he
no, he
didn't
didn't
have
even.
it.
He rolled without it, so he just
Yeah.
assumed that they didn't. Okay. Ouch, though. No wound, no skulls at all. That's not great. If I am Boromir, the one over by Valda can absolutely attack a sharpshooter, and I think I do that. It's exactly 8, right, to get there?
Yeah, that's exactly 8.
So
So that would be, yep, I think that'd be a
you attack the sharpshooter, and then you
probably
attack
worth
the
it.
2 nids right in front of you.
Or you take the high ground.
Interesting.
Okay.
I don't hate that move, but I think I would have attacked the sharpshooter because it can do it can do damage to you.
Yeah. Like I almost feel like if I was gonna develop, I'd just pull up one of these guys back here and move it up instead of just moving a
Yeah.
couple spaces forward. I mean, that's a great perch for sure, but
It's possible that he's like trying to set up
a tailored hit maybe.
getting line of sight on something. I don't think he can get a tailored hit.
Not with the
I think
nid
he's
in the
just
way, but like I don't maybe if he goes
yeah.
into
And
Q9 to
Kevin here is
clear and
just
then
like,
tailored.
we're just gonna yeah, and it's in Kevin's interest to yeah. Oh man, another hit on Q.
Doing work. Yeah, those consistent
Yeah.
attacks of 4 are punching.
What's interesting is that Templar right next to Q9 can actually attack the I'm pretty sure it can attack the sharpshooter with the galloping charge ability. Or wait, do they have to be unengaged? They might have to be unengaged.
No, does not have to be
Nope.
unengaged.
Nope. They do not. Yeah, so yeah, you can totally do that. And I think that's the right call because in the end game, you kind of don't care as much about like nids are less of a threat to you than sharpshooters, so I'd be trying to
Right.
get rid of as many of those as possible. So oh, you're grabbing Valda. Okay.
Okay.
Oh,
One,
that
two,
actually,
three,
okay,
four,
with
five,
Valda, yeah,
six,
you
seven, eight,
can
nine.
get a
Yeah,
tailored
there you
hit in.
go.
Okay, that's solid. Um, I don't know if I might actually just go for the sharpshooter instead of tailored. And I probably bring the one on the glacier back to attack the one on the sharpshooter. I don't know. Just trying to think how, because I want to have as many people forward as I can and engaged in the fight.
Right.
Because if I can knock him down to 3 sharpshooters, that's a really good spot for that's a really good spot for Boromir, because then yeah, that
Mm-hmm.
move there. Because what it does is it basically means that uh again, I think the right call was to attack down on the sharpshooter. Because like, yeah, Taylord, but eh. Like you're very unlikely to kill Taylord in one hit, whereas what we
Right.
have here isn't ideal, but it is something that can still be exploited. So I think so he was setting that up there to get a hit in on Taylor, which again I think the right call was to just remove the sharpshooters. Again, you also don't care an end game if Taylor is there near the end, because oh no, Q9's gonna murder him, or oh no, um Templar are gonna murder him, or even like Swagan Raiders. They're still gonna pick
That's true, actually.
a
With two of
punch.
them, yeah. Like, they'd be attacking with four right now, which is pretty good.
Yeah. Which
I
is
don't
also
know.
worth noting that oh gosh, Kevin has also can attack Q9 for 4.
That
So
is
that's
true,
not
too, yeah.
nothing.
Of course,
Okay,
what else
interesting
is
move
not
here.
nothing is Taylor's bio. He was the last man in the Colosseum. So,
Look, Taylor has the
obviously.
second most lying bio in the entire game.
Most lying being Kosumet?
Kosumet. Okay, well, if you just kill Taylor with a bunch of Q9 shots,
I
then
guess that is also an
I,
option.
yeah, then good job for you. That makes his life a lot easier. But no, like Kosumet's bio is like his sturdy shield will block any attack, and his mighty Kopasher, something that you're just like, this
With
is like
absolutely
3-3,
no,
dude.
yeah, like with
Get your
absolutely
height,
no
man.
defensive abilities. Like, it's great.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It is. Taylor's got the second most lying bio, because you know what? Okay, you know what? Maybe if it was a bunch of like scrubs that he was fighting, like I don't know, a bunch of 1/1s or something. Sure. Okay, I buy that.
Yeah, it was just a bunch of Ashigaru.
Yeah, like if he was fighting a bunch of Ashigaru, yeah, sure. Okay, I buy that he beats like 80 of those things.
I think
Not likely,
Taylor
but I
wrote
beat it.
his
I
own
buy it.
bio. I think Taylor saw his point cost and decided to write his own bio to say like, "Yeah, I'm totally worth it, guys. I'm cool. I'm cool."
Regular Hercule Satan from Dragon Ball.
Yes, that's actually perfect.
Uh, I'm not going to pretend like I did not do that exact role play when I played it in Curse of Negaxa. Never, we're not
Oh, really?
like that is absolutely what happened.
Oh, that is so good.
Yes, complete with a bunch of tailored themed merch. It was great. Not actual merch, but things that I was like jokingly made up as merch.
Hmm.
So Boromir here is led off with Templar. Um, I think you need to attack down and kill another um sharpshooter.
Sharpshooter
You're
there,
obviously
yeah.
going to try and kill that Nid there. I think you just move up the back one. Like
Yeah, maybe while you've got
I don't
Valda. One,
think
two, three, four, five, six.
I think that with I don't think that's, yeah, you're setting yourself up for some nice things later, but I almost feel like I'd rather have that other Templar just ready to pounce.
Yeah, I'd like to have that option. And while you've got Valda, it'd be nice to, bump him up 10 spaces, either like up here or 3, 4, 5, 6,
Yeah,
7, 8,
somewhere
9,
that's like I'm
up
not gonna be able to
there.
get, yeah, somewhere where you force Kevin to make some decisions here. Although Man, are
Yes,
these
actually, that's a
Templar
bad spot.
rolling terribly for like
They are not. Yeah.
the I've yeah they honestly I feel like Kevin's had slightly better attack dice. Okay, yeah. So remember that 2v4 I was talking about earlier? Here it is now.
Called it.
Um, I will say that I do think this is currently Boromir's game to lose because 2 life Q9 is still a 2 life Q9 and he's almost out of sharpshooters.
Right.
So like
Yeah, Q9 can still do
uh,
work.
maybe those nids managed to sneak some stuff in, but I'm not. Oh, hey, remember how I
No.
said there was like a 25% chance of dying? Looks like that's it. Oh, that's sorry, that was the forward one. And that was an attack of 3, so never mind. But the one on Valda stayed there just fine. I presume Order Marker 2 is on Templar? No, it's on Q9. Okay. You know, that okay, that makes more sense if you're trying to do that because then what it does here is it blocks off that area. So I guess seeing with that sort of thing, yeah, that is the question. Do you have LOS on those things?
Yeah.
Um,
Which I don't know. Q9's head pokes out enough.
you
Maybe.
you
Maybe.
almost
Yeah.
you almost want to rotate them like that, like that.
There
Like
you
I feel
go.
like that's
1, 2,
yeah
3, 4, 5. Maybe that one. Now that's also got a weird thing with the
yeah, but it's
areas.
it's
Yeah.
it's much more reasonable.
Yeah.
So yeah, um, and
Oof,
it does
man.
not do anything for you.
Champion defense there. 2
Mids
shields
are Order Marker
twice.
2, which
2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
he can
7.
get up there and attack
Yep,
Q9,
he could
which
make a
is
throw.
is not a bad choice.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're not like I said, you're not going to get many. There's not many opportunities left for you. I probably bring one up from the start zone to attack one of those Templar. Yep.
Right,
Okay.
yeah. But yeah, get some.
Yeah.
Pull
Move
that
up
guy
one
up
from
to
the start zone
there.
like
Pull
that.
one
Yeah.
guy up to
There's
there.
no point in not doing it. Um,
Yeah, just get some more bodies in the
yeah,
way.
and then I'd probably do just throw my fourth attack on that Templar from the start zone because like
Right back there.
yeah, I'd almost rather move the one from way back in the start zone to there.
Yeah, I agree.
Ooh, that was almost
That was very
damage on
close.
the Q.
That was. All right, got a Templar
Man,
though.
like, is this gonna be a 3 for 3? Oh no.
Man.
Still though, 7 dice out of uh 9 rolled, pretty good. The Q9's
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I forget. I don't think Kling activates from an LEA, right?
Actually, I think it does. I was just reading the card earlier, and it's if a marrow nid inflicts 1 or more wounds on an opponent's unique hero. So yeah, it would.
Yeah, no, you just basically need to stay there and just
Just pew pew
shoot
pew
at
pew
them.
pew.
Yeah, and shooting at the sharpshooters because, they are currently a bigger threat to you, although the nids are not nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, you're much more worried about what the sharpshooters can do to you because of, I think they're going to be rolling what 4 dice here on Q9, which 4v8s can. That's not nothing.
Mm-hmm. Although I think actually without tailored, it's only 3v8s.
Is their base attack 2 or 3?
Base attack 2.
Oh, base attack is only 2. I thought their base attack was 3. That does make them a lot worse. Yikes, man, that's. Well, they do have 7 range. Holy crap, I forgot. I thought they had base 6 range, so. Yeah, 9 range. So yeah, you could have stayed there and you can just stay
Yeah, just stay
there
there and
and
shoot up,
not
right?
move and shoot up and get some 3v8s, which is doable.
Or what's he going for? Can't even hit the Templar
I
from
think the
there.
Templar. Not the Templar on the glyph,
Oh,
Templar
this guy.
up
Oh, this
there.
shoot through the glacier. Oh, to Q9.
Or
One,
I
two, three,
guess,
four. One,
yeah,
two,
he
three,
does have he
four,
does have
five,
ele-
six.
he
Oh, he
sorry, yes.
does.
Yeah, he has range on him, which makes some sense. I mean, I get why he's doing this because you'd like to move to a place where it's very hard for Q9 to retaliate on you.
Right. Yeah. No, that. Yeah. No, that totally makes sense.
Like Q9 can, but it's not easy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Trying to think where to move the other one though. Probably just. I don't think you stay there. I think you actually have to move up.
Yeah, I would maybe have moved this guy up a little bit closer.
Yeah, you want to stay
Maybe.
4 spaces away, but you also like
4, 5, 6.
you don't really. Oh, okay, so now that one's shooting the Templar, so
Oh, okay.
now it's reset. Honestly, if I'm Boromir, I just go all in on Q.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, you're
at this
Templar in
point,
bad
there's
spots.
literally no reason not to.
Ooh, tied initiative.
And so Kevin goes first. I presume it's sharpshooters. Yeah, because there's very real chance that Q9 kills 2 of your sharpshooters on this turn,
Mm-hmm.
and only having 1 sharpshooter is not great. Or he kills 2 sharpshooters before he gets order marker 2. He's going there to eliminate the Templar on Valda. And this one,
Shooting up, probably. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, no.
well, you don't want to get too close because you don't get the extra attack if you're too far, if you're too
Right.
close.
Well, yeah, I was just counting spaces away because I was wondering why he wasn't moving and seeing if maybe by staying back he was keeping Q9 from getting a good shot in with the nid right there.
Well, one of the
But Q9
things,
could just
yeah,
move
there's
there.
no great places for Q9 to move forward without giving up height to the nids.
Right, that's true.
Honestly, you know, this is when I just probably throw out Q9's normal attack, or you can just murder the nids around you. There's only 7 of them left, so
Yeah, like if you kill 2 or 3 of them,
yeah.
I think that's pretty. Like maybe pull back Q9 a touch and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or I guess maybe just stay there. But like you could attack these guys, that guy, that guy, that guy. I mean, you can attack basically all of them.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if
And
you
if you
can.
know
Yeah,
there's
no,
going to
there's
be
no
a
point
nid
in.
order marker too.
So all your order marker, all Boromir's order markers are in Q9. And I'll be very surprised if he has a Templar order marker.
Right. Yeah.
Boromir, sorry, not Boromir. Kevin, has at least 1 order marker on nids. So,
Mm-hmm. Because it
and at
was
this
it was 2
point,
and 2, right?
yeah, he had 2 on nids, 2 on sharpshooters. If one of them, if the nids, oh, interesting. I think I see what he's doing. Yeah, I think I see what he's doing here. So if he kills that nid, he'd then be able to shoot at the sharpshooters from height without getting himself in dangerous positions. I don't know if that's worth it. Just because if it goes badly, that nid isn't going to be able to get even ground on you because where you position Q.
Mm-hmm.
But it's more you just spent a bunch of turns doing you spent a turn doing basically nothing, and
Right.
that's a very real, yeah. I actually I was thinking about potentially backing up just because. So one of the advantages to backing up is that it forces the sharpshooters to move forward. It also forces the nids to kind of come into a spot where they're not going to be able. You're basically putting yourself here by not. You don't have to worry about them potentially using the range against you and forcing you onto low ground, which is what Kevin Dola wants to be playing on a spot where he can potentially get a height attack on Q9. At this point,
Right.
though, he's mostly more throwing everything in the kitchen sink at Q9. As you'll notice, though, he can't get all of the nids there. I presume it's just going to be 2 attacks on the Templar and 1 attack on Q9. and you just hope that you manage to. Yeah, at this point, you're throwing spaghetti at the wall against Q9. If you
Mm-hmm.
get through, it's going to be great.
Yeah, just throwing as many attacks as you can and trusting that eventually the dice will break your way
Yep. And
sooner or
so
later.
now Boromir moves up here, and trying to think if I like that.
When I turn, oh, because he's going for those guys.
Yeah, I mean, presume he's going to shoot at those ones, but I honestly kind of don't care about them right now.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd worry about him.
I mean, there's a
Like
very
I,
real argument you should have been using your normal attack on the sharpshooters, but or at least this turn, there's a very real argument that, well, no, you'd have to take an LEA, and you don't want to take
right.
a uh yeah. So
Interesting.
kind of looking to see here, like,
6.
what is the right call here? Because you're not going to get good shots on troopers. You kind of just need to put yourself in a spot where you're going to be able to potentially attack as many nids as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm trying to think if this current position is sufficient. Because you can't stay where you are, because staying where you are is just gonna. And the annoying thing about that spot is that if you don't kill that nid down there in the start zone, it can just hop up onto the start zone.
Exactly. Yeah, that's kind of what my concern was there. So like
Sorry, it can just hop
pivoting
up
to be
right
like
into, yeah.
there.
But I mean, if you start off with a 3 for 3, then you're in pretty good shape. And a 2 for 3 is also really good.
Mm-hmm.
I presume he's attacking the one where the glacier, but it blocks because that happened.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm curious. I
Interesting.
feel like, okay, so order marker 3 is on nids. That's all right.
Some
Kevin
swings
is
in.
hoping that something breaks through.
Not
Oh my
quite.
gosh, can you imagine if
Man.
he had rolled 2 skulls there? That would have been a heartbreaking.
Q9 is making it close. Maybe intentionally. Q9's just trying
No,
to
so
like flex.
at this point, what Kevin needs to win is he basically needs the sharpshooters to do lots. It's like, to basically needs the sharpshooters to. Oh, he first off needs Q9 to start whiffing on the Quiglix gun.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Needs Q9 to calm down.
Yeah. So here, Kevin, like, you basically have to. I think you just have to load up on sharpshooters and hope that you get to kill Q9. Because if you don't kill Q9, you lose. Like,
Right. Yeah.
well, actually, sharpshooter 1, sharpshooter 2, put your X on the nids, and then order marker 3 on the swaggin.
Yeah. I'm
That's an idea.
I'm
That's
hoping
an
for Sahuagin to
idea.
come in and
Kind of force Q9 to come a little bit closer and thwack him with 4 dice.
yeah,
Like,
come on
it's
over.
not a bad call. I don't know if it's the right call, but as you can see, he kind of looks like he went all in on sharpshooters, and I think if nothing else, that was the call he needed to make.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, there's. Oh, and it looks like Boromir put order marker on the Raider, which it's just there to do things. Like, it's not great. Yeah, Kevin basically, if he manages to kill Q9 here, he's in an amazing spot, because then what happens is, ooh, moving to the move glyph is nice because then he can get an even ground shot on Q9. I don't. Well,
Is that
even ground shot, so it would only be a 2v7, and
right?
a 3v8, I believe, is
3v8's better,
mathematically
I think,
better.
right? Yeah. I guess you like, well, no, because if you moved around here, that's out of sight.
The advantage to moving to Valda is that you basically leave it so that way Q9 has to sort of split his attention, and it's
Right.
much harder for him to kill several of you.
Yeah, I think that's maybe even the more important part is being able to spread out and keep all three of them
So
from
there's
dying at the
there's
same
there's a
time.
real argument to just run into the swamp. Like you're gonna be
Mm-hmm.
shooting up at him no matter what. So might as well spread out and make it really hard for him to do so. Although, well, I I said that was the
Three, four,
thing.
five,
Although
six.
from this juncture, I believe. Oh, that hurts. That does not hurt.
Oh, that hurts one of them.
That really hurts. Oh yeah, Boromir just
Oh
concedes here,
man.
and yeah, no, because no, that's very reasonable because the next two order markers, he's going to kill the Templar, and he's probably going to kill the Raiders. So like, yeah, yeah, that basically like Kevin. That's exactly what Kevin needed to have happen there in order for him to
Mm-hmm.
win this game. Like, because yeah,
Yeah, no, that was just coming
that
in
was
clutch
yeah.
there.
No, like you 3 for 3 and a whiff on 8 dice.
Yeah,
Ouch.
that just
That's
hurts.
like, yeah. I mean, yeah, not much else that you can. Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah. So it's one of those things where, yeah, and they're talking right now about whether or not Kevin should have attacked down on Q9 earlier in the game, or if he should have been clearing out Templar. And I think the right call is you get as many high level attacks on Q9 as you can
Mm-hmm.
because your Nids can sneak attacks in on the Templar.
Yeah.
Like they're probably not going to sneak in attacks on the Q9. So
Yeah. No, I agree. Like, Q9 is the one who can really just grind out the
yeah,
game.
Boromir's talking about yeah. I get why Boromir attacked Taylor, but I really think the sharpshooters were a better call because like in the end game, if say there was only two sharpshooters here, and yeah, if Kevin only had two sharpshooters to work with, he basically needs that even more.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I may not even put order markers on sharpshooters when he only has two of them. And also, like if it's Taylord here in the end game, like oh no,
Yeah,
oh
right.
Q9 is so worried about Taylord. I don't know, and like he honestly didn't need. Sorry, since Q9 already attacked Taylord and killed him, like he actually didn't need the damage that the Templar did to Taylord. Like I felt like you want to, I don't know, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where I get why he went for Taylord. I think the right call was to attack a sharpshooter, but these are also choices said with the benefit of hindsight, where it looks
Right.
like the right call right there. But if he'd rolled 5 skulls and Kevin had whiffed on Taylor on the first hit, it would have looked amazing. So
Oh yeah.
you
Or
know,
even like, even if you'd gotten tailored down to like two, like one or two life
yeah.
to make it easier for Q9 to pick off. Uh,
So
but
it's one of those
there's
things where I think the right call was sharpshooters, but I think attacking Taylor is defensive. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like,
Like there's an argument both ways. There's so many moving parts with both of these armies. I think
yeah,
it's hard to go. Well, okay, I guess it's easy to go super wrong by just like making totally bad plays. But for
but yes,
Boromir and
absolutely.
Kevin
If
Dola,
Boromir did nothing, put order markers on the Raiders all game. Yes, it's
right,
a
right,
terrible
yeah, that's
decision.
that's terrible.
But
But like the
in
with good play, it's I don't know that there was like a terrible choice there. It's just kind of like varying levels of like how is it going to
so
reward in the long run.
yeah, one of the things that I said at the beginning of this game was going to depend on who got to really like. So the sequencing of plays was going to be big here because
Mm-hmm.
you wanted Templar to be fighting Nids. You wanted Q9 to be fighting sharpshooters. Um, well, actually, to be more completely honest, you wanted to get rid of as many sharpshooters as you could because the Nids did not play well into either Q9 or Templar. Like they could do some things, but the sharpshooters played into both a lot better. So really, it's one of those things where I think as you're kind of playing these games, you do have to think, okay, what end game state am I currently working towards? And figure out, is that an advantageous one for you? And
Mm-hmm.
Q9 versus sharpshooters in the end game is advantageous for you, but it's not as advantageous as, say, Q9 versus Nid. So
Right.
it's one of those things where, like I said, I think that's one of the key things for one of these things where you've got several armies moving parts and stuff is to figure out, all right, how do I sequence things so by the time the end of the game rolls around, I'm in a good spot. And Boromir actually did put himself in a good spot. He just got variance really badly right there at the end.
Right.
But like it's very like if say that doesn't happen, I'm pretty sure at least one, if not both of those sharpshooters go down. And then kevindola just needs to again variance his way into a victory. Like pretty much after Taylor went down, there is that argument for taking Taylor down, because once Taylor went down, it was Boromir's it became Boromir definitely had the control at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. Like you can only do so much about variance. Um, and I do think both players gave themselves really good opportunities to win. Like I said, I think my only thing is that I think it would have been a little bit better had Boromir focused on the sharpshooters before Taylord. But again, it's one of those things where I can very much see, because he is right that he rolled really bad on Taylord. So it looks bad because Taylor, you know, only took like a wound or two, but it's very real possible. What's the expected?
Like with two attacks of
63. What?
6, that'd
Yeah,
be
what,
like
I'm looking.
4-ish wounds, right?
I'm looking. No, they were 63s.
6v3s.
Yeah, I'm looking to see what the expected. So you'd expect to do about 4 wounds with two attacks of 6.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he did get pretty badly diced there. If he did the average total, it does become a lot easier for Q9 to just ping him and then ping something else.
Right.
So that is true. Like I said, no. Again, it's all like not all, but I think that I think the game does play slightly differently if Kevin has one fewer sharpshooter here in this end game.
Yeah, I think that makes a
So,
big difference there. And yeah, it's just playing that like you said, I like that end game scenario that you were talking about of what do you want your end game to look like? You know, who do you want Q9 to be going against? And I mean, it's tough decisions because you know it's
yeah.
great to take
Well,
out
and
Taylor early and get rid of that extra attack die, but it's also great to take out the figures that are attacking early too.
yeah. So one of the things is like this position. Like, yeah, Boromir lost in this position, but this is a great position for Boromir. Like,
Mm-hmm.
this is a really good position right here. Like, Q9's on high ground. Q9 is in great position to take out 2 of the sharpshooters, removing pretty much the biggest range threat to him. And yeah, let me see. Attack of 3v8. What are the odds that Q9 dies from that? I'm just doing some quick math here. By quick math, I mean plugging numbers in and then doing a little bit of additional math. So the odds that any one attack deals 2 wounds is about 4%, and it's about 15% that you get 1 wound from it. So
Wow.
essentially, you're looking at, let me see the odds that that doesn't happen. Like, yeah, you're looking at some fairly low odds that yeah, because this is just an average of like you expect us to do like a third of a wound on average. So with both of their attacks. So you know, it's Boromir had the right like like this is a good position. It just didn't work out there near the end. So
Yeah, I
yeah.
mean, like, I think even if you just, like, kind of take this ending snapshot here, like, just this stuff, the wounds and stuff, and show that to most players, they'll be like, oh, yeah, like, Q9 gonna rock you. But, I mean, and that is just always the thing with high defense, low life figures. I mean, Q9's got much less variance than most of them because of the 4 life, but, once you
Yeah.
get them down a bit, there you do start to run into that risk of, all right, is this
Hmm.
attack going to be the one that breaks through?
Yeah. And it's one of those things where, yeah, it's so yeah, that's still a fun game, and I think both players
Mm-hmm.
played it very well. Like
Yeah, I think that was
they
a
made
great
the
game.
target intact. They didn't. Like I said, I had some quibbles throughout the game to be like, well, maybe this. And I know there was like one move where I was like, I think there was some move with some Templars. I'm like, I don't know if I would have done that. Then when he moved to Q9, I'm like, okay, you know what? If you're with that plan there, actually that makes more sense because I remember like I questioned the original Templar move in between the Hive and the Glacier. I was like, I don't know if
Mm-hmm.
I would have done that. But then when you move Q9 there, it makes sense because that Templar is basically blocking off access to Q9, which is more important than having another Templar available in reserve. So you
Right.
know,
But
yeah,
yeah, I think that was a fun game. I enjoyed watching that one, talking that one through.
yeah,
I'm glad. I think it was worth the wait for it.
yeah. And
Hopefully, Kevin Dillon and Boromir
it
agree.
was a good game.
Yeah, lots of good, again, lots of good moving parts. And it's cool to have Delta to be able to facilitate this kind of, or these kinds of armies. More than you usually would. Because usually this would look like some kind
So
of quad pod
well, the thing
or
with thing with Delta, what it's doing is that more things are viable.
mm-hmm.
And obviously, viable doesn't mean it's gonna. You can't show up with a hodgepodge of heroes and expect to win a Delta tournament. You still have to put
Right.
together something of a coherent army. I don't think there was any special rules to this one. Um, but like that's the thing is that Delta is basically being like, all right, here's all these figures adjusted prices. Let's see what you build with them, and like you can make some very interesting builds with these, and just kind of see where they what they create. Where was I going with this thought? Essentially, what it does with Delta is because the field is much more open, it also means as a player, there's a lot more things to you kind of start having to be aware of. And you have to be like, okay, I know I'm used to playing all these top armies, but now I'm having to encounter units that I'm less familiar with, and I don't know how they play as much and all that stuff. And then obviously, you know, the good stuff is still good. Q9 obviously is still good in this game, even though he cost, I don't know, 250 points, 240 points. I don't remember what point level he was at here. He was still good. He
Mm-hmm.
wrecked a lot of things. Like it's just that because of the price increases, Q9 has to bring Templar with him, who are significantly worse than lots of other options. Although Templar are a really solid option when they aren't 40 points a squad figure.
Yeah.
And when they're instead closer to like 25-ish, I think, a squad figure, it's still
About that. Yeah.
expensive, but it's much less heartbreaking when you lose one to be like, well, all right, there's that one.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then sharpshooters are a two-figure squad, and two-figure squads are, for the most part, not great because, you only get two attacks with them. The Nids are I like the unit. I've actually not played with them yet, but I like the concept. They're fast. They are a four-figure squad, and playing is has matchups where it's going to be relevant. Had a Nid gotten onto Q9 early, like that makes life really annoying for Boromir. And because um Nids trigger on a disengage roll, taking that disengage was something Boromir pretty much couldn't consider.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, like these aren't fantastic units that show up, but they've essentially Delta's made them more equitable in pricing. It's basically made it so that way. I mean, obviously it's never going to be perfect. I think there's even like some figures like Deadeye Dan and Sudama and Runa that like are always going to have a bit of a bump baked into them because they are so high variance that
Right.
it's not good for the meta for them to be good. You 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 don't you don't want figures that are going to keep you from playing the game to be very good. Like it can be fine, they can be decent, but you don't want them to be the dominant meta
Right. Yeah.
because that's
Oh,
just not fun for anyone who has to play against that.
yeah.
So,
I don't need
but
the
for the most
Did I
part,
Dan meta.
yeah, yeah, for the most part, Delta's trying to basically make as many things viable as possible, um, and make it so that way you can do some interesting things with builds and stuff like that. I know, it wasn't this one. I ran a spider build in Delta that was fun. The one I ran in this season was bad. It was a bad build. It was a bad time to run spiders. But then I've also run like cutters and nilfine
Oh, that's fun.
because I could. And then the one I was just talking about, the sideboards one, I ran ebon armor and a bunch of human figures that were almost all of them were cheaper than they normally are. So like Delta gives you a lot more options on what you can do with things. And that is nice because I know a lot of people with the how do I phrase this? With like the 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 cheese meta, there's a fairly good number of viable builds, but
Mm-hmm.
it also means that about 70 to 80% of Heroscape can't keep up.
Right.
And Delta kind of closes that gap. And obviously some figures are still bad. Like it's really hard to make Peloth good at all.
It is.
Like he's 40 points, I think, in Delta, and it's still like, do I really want to spend 40 points on that? So like it's one of those
Mm-hmm.
things where it's so so yeah, it's but um for the most part, there's a lot of options available to people, and it's like I want to say for the CCL league, there was a Delta thing as well there, and was it Delta? Delta, I think it
Yeah.
was Delta.
Yeah, it was classic Delta.
Classic Delta, yeah. And I ran a Nubian Wolves and Braxis. Like, you know, all sorts of goofy options are available to you, and they started to look not so goofy if they actually do well. So it's one of those
Mm-hmm.
things where I really like what Delta brings to the game. I was a bit skeptical. Like I remember when it first was being discussed. My biggest hesitation was getting people on board. I was like, I like what it does for the game. I don't know if you can I don't know how to get it widely adopted. And having more tournaments using it and the builder, I think were two things that really helped it become a lot more viable, a lot more easier for people to be like, you know what? It is nice being able to play with most of my Heroscape collection in either home games or a tournament. Because like,
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to ban Raylan from the game. She's now 135 points. So you can have her. She's just 55 points more than you used to be paying for her. You can play rats, but they're 20 points a pop more. You can play 10th, but they're 15 points more. I think fourth are like 30 points more.
Something like at least. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think the reason why fourth are ranked are priced higher than 10th is because 10th usually want other figures like Raylan and something to punch stuff. And fourth are
Mm-hmm.
just kind of like more of the same.
Just more of
So
us,
like
please.
yeah. So and that's kind of the thing. And then, Grok Riders drop from 130 to like 70. So like, you know, like I was saying, like
Yeah.
Templar Templar or Grox, it really hurts when you're dropping 40 plus points on if a figure dies. But when you're dropping like 20 something, it's a little less. I still don't love it, but it's a lot more like, I don't mind this as much. So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it makes it way
yeah, I really
more
like,
manageable there.
yeah, I really like what Delta does.
Yeah, I'd agree. We've got a lot of new players in Utah right now, and they really enjoy Delta as well because, I go and I play Knights one time, and then they're like, no, we don't like the Knight, which is understandable. I mean, I've been on the receiving end of that too. But, like having Delta, you can still play Knights. Knights are still pretty good in Delta, I would say, but, so are all of not all of, but again, most of the other options. It
The
closes that gap
vast
there.
majority of units are viable in
Mm-hmm.
Delta, is
Yeah.
is how
The
I
only
think
ones
of it.
not being are those ones that you mentioned, like Dead Eye Dan. That would be ridiculous if they were
Yeah, anything
competitive.
that's high variance, and then there's just some figures that it's so hard to save them. Um,
Right. Yeah.
and like they kind of need their problem is less that their point value and more the fact that their their point values are like their powers kind of suck.
Mm-hmm.
So like there's only so much you can do about that. And yeah,
Yeah. But we
um,
do what we can.
yeah.
But yeah,
Thanks for having me on, babe. Thanks for having me on.
of course. Thank you so much for joining us today, Dysole. It was a good game and always great talking with you about some Heroscape.
Yeah,
Before we
I always
sign
have
off,
fun.
yeah, good. I'm glad that's truth. So before we sign off, do you have anything that you want to plug? Anything that you want to share?
I feel like I've done most of my plugs at the moment. I know
Just big plug for
right now
Delta.
that we've got our V Cheese tournament happening right now, and then after that's over, we'll probably be launching another season. Like I mentioned, the OST and Circle Championship leagues have neither one is currently running an event, but the OST is currently in the middle of its event, and CCL I don't think has anything until like June or May. I
Mm-hmm.
don't remember what day it is, what time it is, but both of them have added to the online scape scene, and um, I got to say, more tournaments is not a bad thing, and
Mm-hmm.
they are um, both. I've had fun playing in both of those, and I'm curious to see where they both go in the future. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that um, yeah, I mean, as far as like yeah, I've obviously still got my Twitch channel. I have a bunch of videos that technically are on YouTube. They're just all private, and I probably should make a bunch of them public soon. Just some of them I wanted to edit and stuff. But anyway, yeah, but I do still stream pretty much every game that I play on Twitch. I think the only other thing that I did noteworthy of Heroscape recently is I dropped a draft rankings, basically rankings for like draft type formats,
Oh yeah.
and my thoughts kind of there. I think that's everything on my end. Yeah, I know. Like I said, yeah, OHS is no. There's no active signups for any online tournaments that I'm aware of, but in the near future, I would not. I would anticipate probably probably all three of the ones that I've mentioned: OHS, OST, and CCL, in roughly that order, to open up some new signups. So
Yeah.
I think that's everything.
Well, and it'll be a little bit of time between time of recording and time of this video going live. So I'll also make sure,
Yeah.
like, if there is anything going on, any signups going down, I'll make sure I'll have those linked below so that you guys can check it out. And maybe while I'm at it, I'll probably just start linking the big Heroscape Discord as well, or maybe just the events section of Heroscapers or something like
No,
that.
that's a good call.
Just so that to ease accessibility there. But yeah, so sounds great. Always, I agree. I think having more events, I think having OST and the CCL going on right now is great. The first CCL was cool. It was cool to have the live, 1-day tournament again. And OST, I know, has been doing some pretty cool stuff as well. So good. It's a good time for Heroscape.
Yeah, it is. I'm very happy to see everything going on with the game. The game is continuing on. The fans love it, and we are just keeping it alive.
Mm-hmm. And going strong. But yeah, so
Yes,
with
indeed.
that, we will go ahead and bid you viewers adieu. Thank you, of course, for viewing. As always, thank you, Dysole, for co-casting. All
Absolutely.
y'all, please make sure you remember what a glorious world it is that we live in. And this will be 10 points under and out. Recording starting now.
Wait.
Okay.
We didn't even figure out a tagline. Oh, actually, you know what the tagline should be?
What?
Except it doesn't quite. Okay. I don't know. Is this the first one that you're going to be doing in a long time?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you watch a movie in the 90s with dinosaurs in it called We're Back?
Yes.
I feel like you absolutely need to We're Back, a dinosaur story or something like that. I don't know. Reference that because that's an absolute pull from out of nowhere and it's great and I love it. I don't know.
That
It's
sounds
being
awesome.
goofy.
I need to see if I can find are there any big quotes from that? It's been so long since I've seen that. I need to watch that too.
The movie is such a weird trip.
It
is
is
such a weird trip. We're Back, a dinosaur story. It's got John Goodman in it and all these.
Oh, that's right. It is John Goodman. Oh man.
Yeah, and he's the main dinosaur. They got Walter Cronkite as the guy that feeds him cereal that makes him smart. Then he's got his evil brother who runs this circus of nightmares that's named Screw Eye because he literally has a screw for an eye because holy frick, this movie did not. He was like, all right, what's the craziest thing we can do? We should do that. We should keep doing that. There's so many random things.
Oh, it was so weird. Well, and because I loved dinosaurs as a kid, and so I loved the movie, but also it always weirded me out too.
Because it's a weird movie.
Mm-hmm. It's up there with the Brave Little Toaster.
So not only that, did you know that there is a sequel to the Brave Little Toaster called The Brave Little Toaster Goes
it goes to Mars. Yes, that one is so good.
Yeah, it is more of a trip than the Brave Little Toaster, which is saying something.
It really is.
Good old nostalgic 90s movies of ridiculousness.
There was just a weird period of animated movies.
It's for kids. Who's gonna care? Who cares if we wrote it while we were on acid?
Kids won't know. Unfortunately, I'm looking through a bunch of "We're Back" quotes right now, and unfortunately,
there's not many good quotes. But
it's the movie's great.
The movie's great, but yeah, there's not anything that's obviously a quote from that because it's also kind of a bit of a cult classic. But
right, maybe something just kind of simple like "We're back" and watching out for wait, was it Screw Eye? Dr. Screw Eye?
Professor Screw Eye.
Professor Screw Eye. So we're back and watching out for Professor Screw Eye.
It's such a deep cut that people might not even know what you're talking about. But it's
probably not.
They'll look it up and be like, "What is this?"
Yeah.
Oh, it's great. I love it. Let's do it.
All right. Sounds good. Oh, and good. That whole conversation was recorded. Awesome.